I'm reminded my favorite prayer story is Abraham Joshua Heschel, who was a rabbi who marched with Dr. Martin Luther King. His prayer story was this. Somebody asked him about prayer during the Selma March. He said, "Oh, my legs were praying." I love that, right? My legs were praying. Like that idea of a full body thing. Like what else is a life of prayer, a life of worship, but a life of kindness? Emanuel Swedenborg says that, which is profound.
What happens after we die? How does prayer actually work? What's heaven like? Or hell, for that matter? On this show, we interviewed Christian ministers from a Swedenborgian denomination to explore the biggest philosophical and religious questions of all time. Join us for some big spiritual questions.
How does prayer actually work?
Yeah, to my mind, prayer it's talking with God. And it really is a conversation. And so one of the primary things prayer does is it opens us up to that conversation with God. It's an opportunity for us to express whatever is on our mind to God, and for then us to hear in some kind of a sense of an answer, which sometimes comes and sometimes doesn't, what God might be saying to us in return.
This is a great question, and I have come a long way in my understanding of prayer. And I love the simple definition that prayer is speech with God. Prayer is speech with God. When you think about it that simply, it takes so much barrier out of the equation. Because do you want a relationship with God? Yeah, I hope so. Well, when you want a relationship with another person, how do you do that? You get to know them. How do you get to know them? Well, you spend time with them. You talk to them. You share your life with them. And that's what prayer is. It's sharing your life with God. It's talking with God.
I'm often nervous about the way prayer is used in religious communities, as if it will put in an extra good word or something with God. The God who already knows what we need, who already knows what keeps us up at night, who already knows what hurts our hearts and leaves us wondering what tomorrow will be. I don't think prayer is a chance to tell God something that he doesn't already know. And it is something that opens us up to hear the Lord. If we're in a place where we are willing to pray, it is automatically a humble place. It's a place where we recognize that there is a power beyond us that is looking out for us, that is working with goodwill for us.
So how does God answer our prayer? Well, I think the phrasing of answer, I sometimes want to push back on, because I think people often pray looking for something. And so how does God respond in prayer, I think is really varied. I think often it's an emotional response. I find that prayer makes me feel centered. Prayer makes me feel calm. Prayer helps me process.
I don't think we can sort of come up with our list of demands and make God change his mind. But I think, for one thing, when we're praying for something good, often the Lord himself has put that thought into our mind to pray for it. And so in praying, we are actually lining ourselves up with what he already wills. And I think that is really valuable.
I don't like to think of prayer as sending up a wish list to God, because God already knows what we need. God already knows what we want. Do we know what God has in store for us? Do we know what God needs us to do? If we're willing to pray, it's a really important start. But it's not going to move the needle, I think, of how things are going to play out in life. What it will do is make us a little bit more open to change.
Mother Teresa has a beautiful quote with that. She was asked once, Mother Teresa, what do you pray for? And she said, well, I really just try to listen to what God is telling me. That's my prayer is always like just to listen. And then good reporter says, well, what does God tell you? And she said, not much he's listening to. And I love that line, right? Like literally sometime pray, but pray in terms of listening to God listening to you. I mean, it sounds weird, but let me tell you, it actually really works, because that's the sphere that we're supposed to be in. So that's where I think like we can make our lives very prayerful.
Hey there, pardon the interruption. Just wanted to say that we made a web page that will give more context to this question. Also, we'll have an ongoing FAQ section to respond to repeated YouTube comments as they come in, and allow you to contact us directly with a guaranteed response from a real person. We want community and connection. So click on the link below and we'll see you there. Now back to the show.
On thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. Well, I mean, when people offer their thoughts and prayers, there is value in that. There's value in hearing the vocalization of someone else that I see that you're hurting. I see that something's wrong. I see that something needs to change. It's only a first step, a thought and a prayer that isn't followed with some kind of change. It can feel a little empty. It is a little empty. But there is value in other people hearing that their plight isn't going unnoticed. But it is a first step.
Yeah, well, I have a sort of flip answer for this that maybe is helpful, maybe it's not, but it's been helpful to me, I'll say that. If prayer's not feeling very effective, it might just be that you're not very good at praying yet. I think I'm still maybe wobbling with the training wheels. Maybe the training wheels have just come off and I'm sort of like, I'm not using gears yet. I'm just in a very basic approach to prayer so far, but it can get better with practice.
Most of the time I pray, it's in the car by myself. I'm not kneeling. I'm not listening to soft music. I'm in the car talking out loud. And it started as just talking to myself. It started as just, I'm in the car and I'm talking to myself about my day. And then I kind of realized partway through, kind of months into doing this, that I was praying. But it helped to shift in that way and think about it as prayer, but with the flexibility of just saying, I'm talking to God. And sometimes I talk to God and I'm talking about how great my life is. Sometimes I'm mad, right? When you have someone in your life you care about, sometimes you still get mad at them, and that's okay.
And I will say, I've had to learn to get more comfortable with prayer. It's been a useful aspect of being in my role as a minister. Like, right, someone should pray in this circumstance. I suppose it's me that should do that thing. And learning to get more comfortable with that. It's more powerful than it should be on paper. There's been times when as part of a community, we've been going through something hard, and to pray together about that shared hard thing, to take those things we're dealing with and offer them up to the Lord, to remember, to be reminded that we can turn to the Lord about this hard thing that's going on in our hearts or our minds, as a community, as individuals, as a married couple. We need that. We don't do that enough.
I have found that the most honest and authentic I can get with prayer, the most effective it is in my life, in feeling closer to God, in feeling closer to the center of the person I want to be, of the life I want to live. It's a way to meditate. It's a way to self-reflect. It's a way to know God. That's what I think prayer is.
So, what do you think? Comment your thoughts below or click on the link in the description to go to our website and contact us directly. If you want to support us, likes, comments, and subscriptions, as you know, are perfect. This show, just so you know, is produced by the General Church of the New Jerusalem, a branch of Swedenborgianism commonly known as the New Church. Our religion holds the Bible sacred and uses the writings of Emanuel Swedenborg to help distill its stories and parables beyond the literal scripture. If you're curious, no pressure, the link's in our description. Or, just watch more videos.